Champions League next year. We shall see. Here's Mikel Arteta with Angus Scott.
Mikel, your reaction to that?
Well, considering that you concede 2 goals away from home and you still get away with a draw, you have to take some positive from it. I think we conceded 2 very poor goals. We give them hope, especially with a lot of giveaways, simple balls that we lost in our own half, because there were other moments that we had total control of the game and we looked at threat. We lacked a little bit of more threat and capacity to punish them near the box, but it's true that we are lacking 4 of our main attacking players. So overall, everything to play for, and we have to play at the Emirates.
Do you feel it was a getaway, that you were lucky to get away with some of the way you played tonight?
I don't know if it's a lucky. Obviously, the second goal is lucky. Martinelli is true. We had a big chance with Fabio as well, but it's true that at 2-1 we conceded after a direct play. We lose the runner, a big chance that they had to make it 3-1. So a lot of things to improve, that's for sure, but as well to stay in the game and get back on the game and be alive in the tie.
Do you feel that's maybe because you had 6 different players in, or you lack a little bit of European experience? What was it?
Probably it's a mix of everything. Making 6 changes, you lose a little bit of the cohesion, but we had to make the changes because obviously some players weren't available and fit to play. Some players have to play in different positions because we don't have any strikers, so we have to adapt to it. And then we try to make the changes to try to improve the game, which I think we did.
And did you end up bringing on players that necessarily you wouldn't want to play? That you didn't want Thomas Partey to have to play tonight, and Gabriel, but they had to come on?
No, they have to be available to play, and we have to use them. At this club, you have to play every 3 days, and you have to be fit and available to do that. If not, it's not worth it.
And where does it leave the tie for you?
Everything is still to play for. Obviously, we're going to play at home, and we have to show that we are the better team, and we decided to win the game.
Performance from the goal-scoring centre-half. Would they have taken it pre-match, a draw?
I think they still wanted to win the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, I think it was a fair draw. Just a word on Saliba, just a player that Arsenal bought 3 years ago, went out on loan, by the way, for 3 seasons. And you'd have been thinking, am I really going to be an Arsenal player? This is his first season as an Arsenal player. In the first very match of the season against Palace, he was man of the match. And he's been brilliant ever since. I think you're just growing in stature, just listening to him speak there. The goal he scored tonight, his performance, he's a proper central defender.
Is he Arsenal's senior centre-half now, already?
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Gabriel make for a really good partnership. I think he's ahead of Gabriel. But yeah, I mean, he's doing everything you want. There's a hunger. He's taking responsibility. He wants to get into the next round. He's giving everything for the cause.
I guess, not that he's using it as an exercise, but Arteta finds out about the strengths and maybe the weaknesses of his squad in this competition.
Yeah, and I think he viewed this game as an opportunity to do that, given Sporting's status. They weren't exactly flying in the league. They looked almost vulnerable, they find it hard to score in the league, so he saw this as an opportunity to try out those players because he knows that this next couple of months he's going to need that depth. He's going to have to call on that depth. There's players coming back, but there's also players out, certainly in attack. Martinelli starting down the centre was one example of that. But changing up the partnership, the pairing at the back. But going back to Saliba, he could be there for the next 10 years. I mean, a centre-half pairing of old, maybe.
I like the way you used the word old there. I see a little bit of Van Dijk in him. I don't know about you. Obviously, if you contribute both ends, you're doing a lot as a centre-half.
He's very composed. He's strong. Again, he's got that ingredients of pace there. Look, I suppose Tony Adams was noted for scoring from set pieces. He's got in on the act again. It's a nice habit, isn't it? To your head to be the first on the ball in either box. Really good header, heads it down.
Makes his own space, doesn't he? With a little,
shoves off Gonçalves, who's the blocker. So if you're organising, Gonçalves is never going to tower up over him. No, nothing at the back post at all. Irrelevant. Gonçalves loses him because Saliba shoves him off, gives him that space, and then it looks like he's got an uncontested header. But he has shaped that whole scenario.
Yeah, maybe communication, lack of match practice amongst centre-half, goalkeeper, etc., leads in part to the 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goalkeeper has to learn from it. It's, when you wake up, you make up your mind to come for the ball and you go and reach it at the highest point. If you look, the goalkeeper comes and then he backs off. He kills a little bit the central defenders.
He's not set, is he? He's not set. Look how wide his legs are there. There's no way you can commit to moving. It's an in-swinger. You've got to come and use the pace of the ball whipping in.
Look how close it is. Look how close it is to the goal.
It's 3 yards out.
Yeah.
So as a goalkeeper, you have to command that area. Absolutely. You call everyone off. You expect your defender. Kivior did nothing. He shrunk into his own shoulders there. You expect your defenders around you to protect you, but they didn't get a shout. They didn't protect him, but the goalkeeper needs to take command of that area.
I'll tell you what I do when I'm playing for the next one. I'm heading that, and I'll take my own goalkeeper out because if I can't rely on him.
But you know what? Ramsdale will deal with that. He would take that out of your decision out of your hands.
For sure, Ramsdale would have come and dealt with it. But then it's a goalkeeper who's not played much football, so let's give him a little bit of a break. But then he has to learn, doesn't he? He has to learn quickly from his mistakes.
Yeah, as Rachel said, Arsenal actually came out second half brightly, but then nice bit of play from Sporting for the 2-1.
Yeah, as we said, 3 really good opportunities from an Arsenal point of view. And this would have been disappointing. That run in behind there gets in between 2 strikers. Again, the goalkeeper, it's a reaction, isn't it? It's a reaction save, and he parries it. You could say into harm's way, but the reaction there for Paulinho is really outstanding, gets to it first.
Yeah.
It's just a tap-in, but I don't think we can approach the goalkeeper on that one. It wasn't ideal where he puts it, but none, the reaction then from the striker.
It's impossible. Where you deflect it, you're not intentionally deflecting it. It's just getting an arm out, getting something on it. 3 yards out, point blank, gets down low to his right-hand side, and Paulinho's the one who reacts first.
We talked about Martinelli through the middle, didn't we, pre-match? Got that one electric glimpse of...
Yeah, I think we saw him score a goal for Chelsea when he first burst onto the scene from an Arsenal point of view. And we know that he has that pace, that change of pace. When he breaks here it's a hell of a run he goes on. He weaves through players, and he's got great pace. It's great defending in the end. He looks like Carl Walker.
Goalkeeper does excellent, by the way, because he comes flying down his line and he forces Martinelli to take that extra touch around him. Because if the goalie doesn't go down the line, he can shoot from the 18-yard box. But he comes down and shows that he has to go right.
You could say the goalkeeper sold himself a little bit there, and luckily the defender was actually covering him.
He was very pleased with his defending that. So he should be. But then, in 45 seconds, I think it is, Arsenal survive what was again a dangerous situation, and then less than a minute later, they're level.
Great fortune in this one, isn't there?
Paulinho again, isn't it?
Yeah, and this comes after he said the first 10 minutes, it was all Arsenal, made nothing of it. This is such a poor effort.
They had some good runs from deep, which was a little bit of a feature of the game. But straight up the other end, I don't think Xhaka's actually going to claim this one. But, a good job it didn't reach its target, because it was he's blasted it at Vieira. And in the end, it's
no foul there, is there?
I don't think there was enough in that, to be honest.
I think VAR checked it.
As you say, it's a really fortuitous goal, but Arsenal will take that.
Yeah, they will. They'll get Ugarte back next week, but they'll lose Coates and Morita, both booked, and thus 2 yellows they'll miss next week. That'll be a problem for Sporting.
And they were pretty lightweight bookings as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they'd be disappointed with that, because going in with 2-2, as much as Arsenal wanted to win that game, they know the home advantage is massive. It is, whereas going there for Sporting, they needed their full strength team, which is that team, plus some to come back in. So I'm sure Arsenal will make changes as well going into that home leg to ensure that they get, because they want to be fighting on as many fronts as they can. They know they've put on display today that they have the depth of squad to be able to do that.
And I think looking towards the weekend, they come away unscathed. There's a problem in that centre forward position. Trossard, another one who's out. Nketiah, Jesus, nowhere near really getting back.
Training, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's an area. So you wouldn't want to lose anybody else tonight. They're still in the tie. They can finish it off in the next game. And as we say, the Emirates now is really rocking for every game they play there. So that's going to be something that they won't be really used to, Sporting.
William, how was that? That seemed quite hard work.
Yeah, today it wasn't an easy game. We scored the first goal. And we conceded 1-1. On the second half, they scored the second one. But as always, we never give up. We come back and score the second goal. And that's it. We are lucky we have a second game at home, and we will give everything to win next week.
Was the disappointment taking the lead away from home and then conceding afterwards from a set piece?
Yeah, of course. It's always bad to concede two goals, one in set pieces and one in counter-attack. But it's okay. We didn't lose. It's the most important. And we play the next game at home.
And how was it playing alongside with Jacob? Because you haven't played in a game before.
Yeah, it's his first game and he played well. And for me as well, I played the first time with him and we did well. Unfortunately, we conceded 2 goals, but it's okay. We played well and that's good.
How much training had you done together beforehand?
Yeah, we train a lot together because in training we change the pair always. So that's why we play good together. And it wasn't bad to play with him for the first time.
And where do you think this leaves you in the tie?
What did you say?
Where does this leave you in the tie? 2-2 after the first leg.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Of course, we wanted to win here, but it's okay. We didn't lose, and we have to be focused on the next game. And we are lucky because we play at home and we'll give everything as always.
And what does it say about this side that again you come back from being behind?
What did you say?
What does it say about your side, the Arsenal side, and the mentality that you go behind and you come back again?
Yeah, it's always, we know they can score, but we know that we can come back always. So we never give up, and that's a good mentality from the team. And we will do this every time. But it's always better to lead. But when we don't lead, we have to come back.
William, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Granit, that seemed quite hard work.
Yes, for sure, and we knew that as well before the game. Very tough to play here. I played here, I think 3-4 years ago, and it's always tough to play against a Portuguese team. A lot of discipline, good tactical, good footballers as well. But we have to take the 2-2. We knew that before the game we have 2 legs, and let's finish the game in London.
You showed that ability again when you go behind to come back.
Yes, first of all, we started, I think, okay in the game. Scored the first goal. On this level, to concede these 2 goals can't happen. It's too simple, too easy. But yeah, we scored the 2-2 after, and we had in second half, I think, a lot of control in the game. And the game can change. We can lose this game as well, but we had a chance to win as well. So that's why we take the 2-2.
Granit Xhaka with Angus Scott. There's the next 6. Obviously, that could change if they get through next week. There'd be a game between Liverpool and West Ham. Open draw, remember, from the quarterfinals onwards in all the European competitions. So they could draw clearly anybody, including Manchester United, were they to progress. But how far ahead do players look, Martin?
I think it's game to game,
really,
without doubt. I do think though you're away in Europe, you're a long way from the Premier League, aren't you? And you're thinking, if the manager's not going to rest me, I need to manage myself a little bit in terms of my performance. I think we saw that with Saka tonight, just a little bit, maybe just not at the level. And I think that's normal. That's only human. We've come through unscathed. A lot of difficult games. Fulham would have had a week to prepare for that. They're taking a look at Arsenal tonight, and Arsenal will be in good shape. There's no doubt. But he's right. They were technically really good players in there, so that's a decent result for Arsenal. It keeps that momentum going without having lost the game. You're still very much in the tie to bring it home,
because it's an area of the pitch they are now a bit short. Obviously Trossard ill/injured, Jesus on the way back, and Nketiah also injured, so it's kind of needs must for Saka, I guess, to some extent.
Yeah, it is, and I agree that I think not only naturally you will pace yourself a little bit, but I think it'll be stringently monitored by the sports scientists, by the doctors, by all of the training analysts who analyse loading. They all wear the sort of little tops with the to ensure that everything's tracked, all the dynamic runs, the long distance runs, and there'll be nothing that is making freak out about Saka's performance. He'll be aware of it, they'll be aware of it, it'll be in collaboration together. And the best thing about tonight, a draw is satisfactory, but come away with no new injuries, no players that ruled themselves out through suspension. So all in all, I think it's just nothing but positives.
And if you think about Arsenal as well, and talk about the revenues, and talk about the Champions League, the number of years that Man City, their rivals, have been in the Champions League last 10 years. Every year they're in there, all that money that comes in, pours in. The Arsenal squad has been reduced a lot over the years, so they're rebuilding again. It's not really stocked with lots of players. So he's doing it with fewer players. So he has to.
I mean,
he has to manage the minutes of each player.
Like
very
Kevin's
well.
Man City qualifier every year. I think they'd struggle with that cash injection, wouldn't they?
Tough,
It's just
wouldn't
as
it?
well.
They've bought smart though, haven't they? We've talked about some of the players and the cost of.
Yeah,
Saliba
Trossard.
is
I mean,
one of them.
Jorginho, Arsenal
was
profiting from Chelsea
exceptional.
spending all their millions. So I think they did really good job in January. But it's still Arsenal going to have to keep buying players to catch up.
Position maintenue. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.